Hey everyone, this is Corey with Stafford's EDC, and today this is going to be an extremely quick review of the Pena knives Apache with the Kickstop mechanism. So what the Kickstop mechanism is essentially a disappearing flipper tab. You can see the flipper here is sticking out of the back of the knife as you'd expect, but what you might notice is that it's not attached to the knife. You can't really see too well down in there, but it's its own separate piece. And watch what happens here when you deploy it. You can see it's gone, when in reality, it is just right here. You can kind of see this area where the jimping changes patterns, where you have two thicker portions. That is where the kickstop ends, right there, and then the jimping on the blade starts. So this is the last little bit. So right now I have the entire kickstop covered, and what you're seeing is just blade jimping, and now you can see the kickstop mechanism. And as this closes, you'll see right here starts to re-engage. And you can even move the blade back. You can see it follows it, but it doesn't have to. This is its own free moving piece. See, the blade is completely free to do as it pleases. Same with this here. And then once it seats back in the detent, this is back in position. What essentially happens is that the kickstop mechanism functions as it is a kind of a lever to deploy the blade, just like a normal flipper is, but instead of being attached to the blade, it's really just giving you leverage to push on it. And folding down, it stops in this position. There's a pin inside that it travels on, and then instead of the blade having a stop pin, you can see there's no track in there for a stop pin. The kickstop itself functions as the rear stop pin, with the lock obviously keeping the blade in place. Now I'll show you the little kickstop logo here. You can see that. And this is a Lee Williams invention here. You can see his name on the blade. And as for the knife itself, it's a Rayot made Pena design. It's a really great knife. I'm not going to get super into it here. These do carry a little bit shallow, but not a bother to me. The shred carbon fiber that Rayot has is quite nice. You can see the way it reflects the light and kind of catches it in different ways. Very cool. Both sides look quite nice, and I didn't notice any voids on this. Does not mean that they're not there. Shred carbon fiber tends to have little pockets of missing material, but these actually look pretty good, even looking down the sides and the ends and whatnot. The action on this is really good. It's on bearings. As I slide off there, drops shut with a little shake. The detent on the kickstop versions, as opposed to the front flipper versions of this knife, are a lot stronger. And yeah, I think it's just because it is a separate mechanical piece. You're putting effort onto the kickstop, which is putting effort onto this area, which I don't know if I'm going to be able to show that to you or not. Yeah, I guess I can. You can see how the kickstop would press against the tang of the blade right there. So you're essentially flipping the knife from this area right here without an actual physical attachment point to it. So of course the detent is going to be stiffer. It has nothing really to do with lock bar tension. It just has to do with how much force is being applied through this angle. And with this being a separate piece, it's not quite the same as pushing into an existing piece on this. There's just a different transfer of energy there. The blade itself, really nice little Wharncliffe style blade. It's not quite a full Wharncliffe, as this edge is not fully straight, so kind of a sheep's foot. Comes down to a nice point. Makes it easy to cut with, labels, things like that. Opening boxes is no problem. And the grind is nice. This is a flat grind. You can see it travels most of the way up the blade stock here, and then you have this swedge coming across a little more than half of the blade length overall. That makes it nice and easy to get through material. No complaints there. Something that the Trapper and some other of the Pena models are missing for sure is some kind of relief like this that makes this cut a little bit easier. One other thing that I think is worth noting on this knife is the sound when you close it, because you have two different kinds of engagement. You have when the blade tang engages the kickstop, there is a noise that you'll be able to hear, and then there is, of course, the detent engaging. Now, the best way to hear this noise, you're not really going to notice it. When you close it, you might hear it doesn't sound the same as a normal knife. You hear a very slight click, but it's really hard to tell. Where you notice it is if you shake it shut. You hear that it's really quick, and I don't know if the phone the phone microphone is going to pick it up, but I'm going to try and hold it close up here. Wasn't a great example of it. So that was probably the best one I'm going to get. There is for sure two audible clicks that are distinct and kind of a neat sound. So if you're a acoustics kind of person who likes a really neat sound to your knife, this certainly offers that for sure. And as I said, the detent is stiffer than normal, but it is a good detent. It fires out with no issue. This is a nice, comfortable design in hand. Pinky kind of hangs off for me, but pretty comfortable overall. And before I go any further, just give you a little size comparison. We'll go with the Benchmade Bug Out and the 84mm Victorinox Cadet. Just wanted to get that for you because I'm not going to read off any specs here. As I said, this is going to be a shorter video. But yeah, there isn't much else to say. It's a really nice knife, and the Kickstop mechanism is really cool. I hope I get to check out knives that have this featured in the future, because a lot of knives, when you have them open, I have issues sometimes with ergonomics coming from flipper tabs. You guys, if you've seen my collection a few times, and it always changes my collection. There's some stable things that haven't really changed, but I don't tend to have a lot of flippers, and it's because I don't really like that as my only form of deployment. I much prefer to have multiple forms of deployment, or just a thumb stud or a thumb hole or a fuller, something to flick. I'd much rather be able to flick with my finger and my thumb than just use a flipper tab. But that is just personal preference. However, if I were to have this kickstop option on some different knives, I'd really be interested to see what I think about them, especially if they were flipper-only knives that I'd handled in the past. But that's not really something that is super available at the moment, so I'm hoping that Lee Williams kickstop being used on the Pena knives is kind of a showing of something to come in the industry. I hope to see that done more on other knives. So yeah, that's something to look forward to. If you are looking for one of these, I don't know if he still has it available, but Chris over at Grady's Gear is selling one of these, the exact same model with the shredded carbon fiber and the kickstop. So go over and check him out on Instagram and here on YouTube. I'll tag both down in the description, and he may or may not still have it available for sale as of the time of filming. It is St. Patrick's Day, March 17th. So he may or may not have that, so keep that in mind. And with that, I am going to let you guys go. Thanks so much for watching, and have a great day. Take care.